Hello, welcome to EdotGdot and Friends. My name is Elden Killian, and today we're going to be ranking every board game that I've played in the last 10 years. This is the ninth of 10 videos. So we're starting to get into some pretty good games. This is numbers 67 through 132. It's going to be a good night if we're playing one of these. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get going. Shadows over Camelot from Days of Wonders. This is a hidden trader game. So you're working cooperatively, but potentially one of the players is working against you. This has a Knights of the Round Table, Holy Grail theme, and you're trying to do all these different tasks. You're trying to fend off the bad guys. You're trying to seek out the Holy Grail and do all these things before time is up. But potentially one person is working against you, which throws a little monkey wrench. The fact that there's not always somebody working against you, but you're never quite sure, is what makes this game pretty interesting. Anyway, just a really solid game. I have not gotten to play this one a ton, but just super solid and really enjoyable the times I have been able to play it. Anyway, number 132, Shadows over Camelot. 131, the Stauffer Dynasty. This my friend calls this the most thematic of Euros, very ironically. Just pushing cubes around, making some action selections, and just trying to be a little more clever than your opponents in a true Euro game fashion. There's just something else. This one that was really interesting to me. I like this more than most gamers probably like it. It's ranked 1041 on Board Game Geek. I don't think it was super popular even when it was out. I just really enjoyed this one. Played a couple times. I don't own my own copy, so I don't know when I'll get to play it again. But I really enjoyed how this one worked. It had this, if I'm remembering this right, how you chose your actions would lead into how you the turn order for the next round, and I thought the way it did that was really clever and interesting. And just good memories. Stafford Dynasty, 131. 130, Ginkopolis. This is a drafting city builder game, which is futuristic, but also kind of retro-y, trying to take care of nature. You're just building a city, drafting these tiles and building out your city and trying to make them score more efficiently than other players. Thought this was a really interesting game. Anyway, number 130, Ginkopolis. 129, Baron Park from Phil Walker Harding. Phil Walker Harding has some really good games. I just played another one of his this month, which is not on the list because didn't play it within the time frame of this list. Really good game. And this one's really good. So you're building a bear park, and you're like a theme, zoo type park about bears. This has a really interesting thing where when you cover parts of your tile, you kind of expand your park and you can build into that. And the timing and how you cover those things up and the efficiency and trying to score with your little polyomino tiles is really good. Really good game. 129, Baron Park. 128, Concept. This is a fun party game. This is another one of those games where if you're playing for points, you're probably doing it wrong. But in this one, you have this big board that has all these different kind of icons and symbols and numbers and colors and body parts and stuff like that. And then you have these cubes, and you put the cubes out to try and get your teammates to guess the word. It's like a drawing game, but instead of drawing, you're trying to draw out these abstract ideas to lead them to the correct answer. And just really fun mind game, guessing game, and just another way to it's just a different way to play a game that everyone already knows how to play. And so it's simple to pick up, but is totally unique in the same way. It feels at home, but also unique. 128, Concept. 127, Imperial Imperial, I don't know how you say that word, Spells and Steam. This is a train game, pick up deliver game that is kind of crazy. It kind of mishmashes like these magical ideas, and the way that you go through your actions is really cool. I had the chance to play this on like the really nice like Kickstarter like super deluxe version, and it was really pretty. The bits were really awesome, but the gameplay I thought was really really solid, and I would like to play this one more. For sure, because I think I like pick up deliver games. I like that whole concept, and this one did it in a totally different way and was really enjoyable to play. Anyway, number 127, Imperial Spells and Steam. Number 126, Villagers. This is another game where I got to play the really nice Kickstarter version. Not as nice as the last game, but still was pretty neat little Kickstarter pieces. And this one's a drafting game where you're trying to get villagers that kind of combo together in different ways. And anyways, thought this was a really good, easy going, but thinky drafting game. But plays a little different than other drafting games. And was really, really good. Number 126, Villagers. 125, Jaws. This is one of those Target specials, Prospero Hall games. That are all the rage these days. And this one's really good. It's a one versus many. So one player is playing the shark and the other players are playing characters from the movies and books. And it's split into two parts. The first part of the game, the shark is trying to grab as many swimmers as possible without getting detected. So it's sort of like this hidden movement portion of the game. And the second half of the game is just the shark is trying to eat this boat without getting killed. And the better the shark does in the first half of the game, the more advantages the shark has in the second half of the game. But they're not. One time I played this game as the shark, I had a perfect first round. I ate all of the swimmers, and I had all these extra bonus cards that let me do all these awesome, crazy things. And but even with that, even with those advantages, it was still a really tight, tense game at the end, and I ended up losing. It just had some terrible dice rolls against me. Great rolls for the other people, and create some exciting. It's a game that's not too hard, but it's not too dumb, and it's really fun. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a really good game. Solid. 125 Jaws. 124 Macau. Stefan Feld's Macau. One thing that Stefan Feld does really well is he plays with the same, not the same theme, but like sort of the same structure, this point salad structure where from game to game, you can see a lot of the similarities in how the scoring is going to work. But the way the action selection happens is where the little twist of the game is. And it has a different setting, which doesn't matter. It's just a Euro-y, soulless game. But it's really thinky. The way the action selection here is really interesting. This is being reprinted as another name. I think Amsterdam, I believe. They just Kickstarter was a couple months ago, and going to be a really nice version. And this is a game that I was really hoping would get reprinted. The original Rio Grande version has like some unfortunate design errors, graphic design errors, I should say. I think the game is really solid, but the graphic design really hurt it. And so I look forward to see this new version, and hopefully those issues are fixed. Number 123, Power Grid, the stock companies. For the most part, I've tried to exclude expansions, unless they're standalone expansions from this list. Power Grid, the stock companies is one example of one that I think it changes the game in such a way that it is its own game. So this takes Power Grid, kind of vanilla Power Grid, and turns it into a stock companies game, sort of like an 18XX, where you, instead of you just having a company, you try to make that company as good as possible. You are buying stocks, and you're trying to become the head of companies that are doing really well, and there's dividends that get paid out. And it just changes the way the game is played quite a bit. It's very interesting in itself, and is worth trying. I think if you like Power Grid, it's a way to play the game that I think is different enough, but but similar enough that you'll probably like it. Anyway, 123 Power Grid to Stock Companies. 122 Deus. This is one of those cool engine building games where you get better at doing certain things the more you do them, but you got to be careful because you got to do more than just that one thing. But yeah, just really solid game. I've only gotten a chance to play this one time, maybe once or twice. And I think I'd really like to get my own copy and try to get this played more often. But yeah, really good game. 122 Deus. 121 Taj Mahal. This is another game I don't own, and this is another Reiner Knizia auction game. This one's really interesting because when you're bidding on things, part of the game is knowing when to kind of jump out of the bid, and you get some payout depending on what you are ahead of when you jump out of that bid. And it has some area control, I guess you would call it, aspects to it. But anyway, just a really good, solid bidding game that has a twist in there. It can be really mean. It can be really tough. But great game. 121 Taj Mahal. 120 Rajas of the Ganges. This is Inca Marcus Brand. Really good design couple. And this game is a dice selection as workers game. But the really cool twist on this, also has some tile laying in it, but the really cool twist on it is that the board is your scoring track kind of goes in two directions. And so you're scoring two different currencies, and it's a race to get your two currencies to kind of match. And you can go really heavy on one end of it and try and make it up there. You can try to balance the two of them and try to meet in the middle somewhere. But you're just trying to get those two things to match as efficiently as possible, no matter which way that is, either by doing really awesome in one of the two or being pretty good at both of them and making them meet in the middle. This is a game I really need to get my own copy so I can play it more. But anyway, 120 Rajas of the Ganges. 119 Lorenzo Il Magnifico. This is like a stretch of games I've only played once or twice. So this is from the design brain trust that came up with a lot of great games that you're going to see later on this list. But Lorenzo Il Magnifico, this uses the dice as workers, and you're trying to get them out there. This has the church is kind of brought into it. You can get excommunicated if you're not doing certain things, and get some punishments, or you can make the church happy. And anyway, just a really good game. A well-deserved BGG top 100 game, and if I'd played it more, it'd probably be top 100 for me for sure. Also, I like a lot of other games that this design group has made. 118 Mededa. This is a what's your game, super heavy action selection. There's some combat in there. One interesting thing about this game is I think what's your game is a Portuguese company, and this one this is a game that kind of simulates the expansion and the growth of the island of Mededa. And I have a couple of friends who lived in Mededa for a while years ago, and just hearing about this cool island group that belongs to Portugal in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is just really interesting when I played it. And as you look into it, it does really follow the history of this island, and so slightly educational. But yeah, just real crunchy. It's a hard, heavy game. Maybe one of the heaviest games I've played and enjoyed. But 118 Mededa. 117 Barrage. This is a game all about hydroelectric power, and you were trying to get your dams and your electric plants to siphon the water and get the water moving in your direction and to produce power more efficiently than everybody else. Real thinky game. This is a real heavy game too, but a really good one. It can be kind of mean. I've only played it twice recently though, and hope I get to play it a lot more. But yeah, just a really good game. Barrage. Number 116 Altiplano from Reiner Stockhausen. This is the kind of follow-up to Orleans, which is super popular bag builder game. This one is set in South America, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're pulling things out of your bag, trying to get the scoring opportunities and moving around doing the different actions better than everybody else. I think it does get a lot of comparisons to Orleans, and there's definitely like a thread that is very similar. But I think they are different enough beasts that they can hold a spot in someone's collection and have both of them and enjoy both of them at different times. Anyway, 116 Altiplano. 115 Mexica. This is Kramer and Kiesling. This is part of the Mask series where they use these action point allowances to do different things. This one is sort of an area control game where you are building out these, kind of carving out these areas on the board and trying to control those and make them worth more points than all the other ones. Anyway, this is a really good game. I've only gotten to play this one once. I would love to play it again. I'd love to get my own copy. Anyway, just a really good game. This is Mexica, number 115 on my list. 114 Puerto Rico. This was the number one game on Board Game Geek when I first started going there, and was a very popular game for a very long time. I just saw on Board Game Geek there's somebody who has like this top 100 of all time where he's like compiles data from all the years that Board Game Geek has been ranking these games, and this one is still the top spot on that metric. The way he does that math, it was just so popular for so long. It'll probably be number one on that list for a really long time. But this was this was a really cool, inventive game when it came out. I didn't play it till years later, and it's still just a really solid game. Definitely worth all the praise it's gotten over the years. Maybe a little dated with newer games coming out, but man, it invented that following action thing that has been copied by other games and does it so well, and it holds up so well over time. The graphic design maybe could do better. I haven't played any of the newer, fancier versions, but it's serviceable and it works. But just a really good thinky game. Number 114 Puerto Rico. Number 113 Murano, another Inca and Marcus brand game. I said these are a couple of great designers that work together and are married, I believe. Anyway, this game, you're going around this island on these gondolas, and the way you choose your actions is sort of limited by that. And if I haven't said this yet already in other videos, I really like when you have a lot of choices, but you're limited by constraints on the game and what you can do right then. And so it forces you to think about what you want to do now to set you up to do what you need to do later. And this game does it really well. It also does this thing where your score is dependent on kind of actions that you've made and cards that you've collected, and your scoring might go in a slightly different direction than somebody else's because of the cards that you've collected. But anyway, this is a really good game. Number 113, Murano. 112, Il Vecchio. BG doesn't love this one near as much as I do, but and I've only played it a handful of times, but Rudiger Dorn did a really good job with this game, where you're moving around this board on this map, and you are trying to use your special actions. You're trying to collect all these different things so you can do all the scoring things you need to do. Not super thematic. The theme doesn't help you play the game, but it's really good. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a shorter game, but really, really good. Number 112, Il Vecchio. Number 111, Keeper. This is Richard Brees, another game in his series. I have not played all of them, but I played this one, and this one's really, really good. The little gimmick in this one is you have like this foldable board that you change from season to season, and it changes up what actions you take and how you can take them. But anyway, it's just a really good game where you are trying to position yourself to score better than everybody else. It made me think a lot when I played it. Really, just really enjoy this game. Keeper, number 111. 110, Love Letter. We saw another version of Love Letter much later. I think the original, the classic, I played this one so many times with my family, with my friends. I've always had a good time. It's always a kind of like this thinky game. Is not difficult, but like you start second guessing, you make wild accusations, you just try to make things work. There's a little bit of player elimination from round to round, but you're not sitting around for too long, so it's okay. And yeah, it's the king of the micro games. Love Letter, number 110. 109, Battle Line. This is Reiner Knizia kind of poker. It's like you're playing 9 hands of poker at one time. So on your turn, you're playing down cards on your side of the battle line, and you're trying to win a 3-handed poker hand against the other person in that same position. Has this wrinkle in Battle Line where you also have like these superpower cards that you can pick up and play, and help you break the rules a little bit, or extend your life, or give you an advantage somewhere. Yeah, it's just a really good game. Much earlier, head-to-head poker was on the list, and I found that at a thrift store. And you can see it's Reiner Knizia figuring out this game. Like, that was the practice run, sold at Hasbro or whoever published that game. And it's this interesting little poker where you're playing multiple poker hands. And then Battle Line is that system kind of perfected. Really great 2-player game. Number 109, Battle Line. 108, Rococo. This one was in the news this week for the new super fancy Kickstarter editions being delivered. Unfortunately, I didn't pony up the money to do that, but anyway, I got a chance to play the original copy a handful of times. Really good. Has this like dressmaking theme and trying to position your dresses in the palace that they're seeing and people talk about, and there's this majority scoring that's going on. Anyway, really good game. Number 108, Rococo. 107, Tikal. This is the Kramer Kiesling, another game in that series with Mexica. Anyway, this one, you have 10 action points on your turn, and you do all kinds of different things with those action points. But the goal is you're trying to explore into this South American excavation sites. You're trying to discover these temples, dig them out, and have majorities in different places. Anyway, just a really good game. Every time I bring this out with somebody, they enjoy it. Anyway, number 107, Tikal. 106, Pony Express. This game is silly. This game is crazy. This game is just a roll and move, but a roll and move with bluffing. So what you do is you roll these poker dice, and then you can re-roll if you pay some gold or whatever, but you're trying to get your roll to get you to where you want to go, and all the actions have special abilities or special things that you can do. But the great thing in this, and what makes it more than just a roll and write, is that after you make those rolls, you can just bluff. You can lie about what you rolled, and if everybody believes you, great. If they don't believe you and you can't back it up, then silliness starts, and you start flicking these things across the table at each other, and you're trying to shoot each other with these little things. There are some kind of non-PC elements in this game where you can actually shoot at the Native Americans, and but all in all, it's a silly, stupid game. Really fun one. Pony Express, number 106. 105, Century Spice Road, from Plan B and Emerson Matsuchi. I believe we spoke about at least one of the other games in this series earlier, if not both of them. Can't remember where I put the other one. But anyway, yeah, really good game. Really simple. I play this game with all kinds of different people, gamers, non-gamers, and it's just a really enjoyable time, for everyone. It's this theme of you're trading spices to purchase these cards, and the whole game is like this algebra. Really is you're playing these different actions to collect different spices. You're playing other cards to turn those spices into the spices that you need to try and get the cards before other people buy them out. Anyway, a really good game. Plays quickly. Doesn't overstay its welcome. 105, Century Spice Road. 104, Inish. This is a war game, I guess. But it's just an interesting game where you are playing these cards and trying to position yourself to get one of the several different winning conditions possible. And so there's these different ways to win, which draws people's strategies slightly different. You just have to keep so many things in check. You can get a little crazy, but I just enjoyed this game a lot. The few times I got to play it. Anyway, number 104, Inish. Number 103, Yamatai. I remember the first time I played this at BGG Spring. It was the final day, probably Monday, right before it was the last game we checked out right before the library closed. All the games had to be returned at noon or whatever. And so we played it once, and we had enough time, and so we squeaked in another play before we went to go get our flight, get on the plane. But yeah, just a really, really good game from Bruno Cathala and Days of Wonder. It has some. It's like cousins to Five Tribes, another Bruno Cathala game, and but it's definitely its own beast. If you've played Five Tribes, there's things you can pick out that are very similar. Five Tribes just another fantastic game, and Yamatai kind of borrows on those good things and adds and expands upon it. And anyway, Yamatai, really good game. Highly recommend. 103. 102, Power Grid Factory Manager. This is from Friedman Fries. I don't know why it's called Power Grid other than kind of cashing in on the popularity of that game. But yeah, Factory Manager, you are trying to build an efficient factory and score the most points. And it's just a really solid game. Friedman Fries says a couple things you can count on him. One is kind of a confusing rule book. Two, something kind of wild and crazy and wacky and just a little outside the mainstream. But this one is probably, he didn't get too wacky, and he made a really solid game here. But anyway, number 102, Power Grid Factory Manager. 101, Vegas Showdown. This is a great auction game that does auctions where there's a limited set of spaces that you can bid and values. And so when you're making a bid, you're kind of saying, "Oh, I'll pay this much for it." And if it comes back around and it's still there, you get it. So people can bump you out, and so it allows that type of bidding allows for this interesting. Like, I see that you want this thing. I'm not going to let you get it for free. I'm going to put down a bid, and hopefully I get bumped out, so I can go get the thing I actually want to do, and then. Sometimes you end up getting this thing that you don't super want, or sometimes it works out and you feel great. And anyway, then you take these tiles that you get, you put them in your casino, you try to fit them in there legally, and try to score points and get more money so you can afford more things later down the road. But anyway, really good game. 101 Vegas Showdown. Number 100. This is where everyone else would start their great list, their greatest games of all time, and here I am, almost 90% into it. And here we are, number 100. Anyway, Waters of Nereus. This is from Steve Finn, Dr. Finn's Games. Yeah, I picked this up as part of a Kickstarter for one of his other games, School of Sorcery, and I really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed it more than School of Sorcery. And so in this game, you have this ship. You have these crew members that you're trying to pay. And so you're picking up these gems, and all the different crew members want a different series of gems. And once you pay them off, then they give you some special abilities that you can use later in the game. But yeah, I like this game because it doesn't overstay its welcome. You're always you're never waiting that long because you're kind of involved in a lot of the different decision making that happens in the game. Like, everyone's kind of, you're simultaneously choosing your action and then you kind of resolve them. So you're waiting around a little bit. But you're very interested in what other people are doing because it impacts what you're going to do. and just a really, really solid game. Anyway, number 100, Waters of Nereus. Number 99, Valley of the Kings. This is a deck building game where you are sort of hoarding points in like the theme of ancient Egypt, like you're the pharaoh or whatever, and I don't know. I don't get the theme in it, but the gameplay is so interesting. So a lot of deck building games, one major strategy is to make your deck lean and mean, and so getting rid of cards. And this one, you definitely want to do that because by pulling these cards out of your deck, you're creating scoring opportunities for yourself. There's some set collection. There's just some straight up points. But one of the really cool things in this game is that these cards that are worth a lot of points are also powerful actions in themselves. So when they're in your deck, you can do these powerful actions, but you eventually want to get them out so they're part of your scoring pile. And so that play there is just so good. It just makes it a really, really, really good game. There's a awesome deluxe edition that has like all the expansions in it. And it's been on my wish list, and I should probably pick it up. I really enjoy this game. Number 99, Valley of the Kings. Number 98, Fuse. This is just 10 minutes of tense, furious fun where you are trying to defuse these bombs in 10 minutes by rolling these dice frantically. You're working together with a group of people, and you're all choosing the dice out that get rolled to try to fulfill the requirements on your little fuse card. But all these other cards come out, or like these situations those come up where you have to get rid of dice that you have already saved, and just a really good game where everyone has to work together and is just chaotic. I've had a couple of games that have come down to the very last second. I've had some games that have gone terrible. I've had some games that look like they were being terrible, then we end up pulling it out. Anyway, really good game. Number 98, Fuse. Number 97, Broom Service. I talked about Broom Service, a card game, many, many videos ago. I really disliked that game, but because this game, the board game version, is so good. The card game took away portions of the board game that made the game as great as it was. Anyway, but this is Alexander Pfister. You are witches. You're trying to deliver these different potions all across the board. And, the really interesting thing in this game is you simultaneously pick which card you're going to play, and then you reveal them one at a time. And you either try to be brave or you can be weak. And if you are brave and you're the only one who chose that witch and chose brave, you get like the awesome ability on it. But you can play weak, and by playing weak, you are guaranteed to be able to do that action. Because if you go brave and somebody later plays the same one and chooses brave, you get nothing. And so just that kind of push your luck, trying to outguess your opponents, trying to do the best that you can, makes this game really interesting. Anyway, number 97, Broom Service. 96, Jaipur, a great two-player game. You are trading spices and wares and gold and rubies with camels. So just the back and forth in this game is like where you are trading cards to get the sets that you need to collect these tokens more efficiently than your opponent. It's just really good. I've played this game tons online. I've played it a ton with my copy. Really good game. Number 96, Jaipur. 95, Gloss Road. Uwe Rosenberg. Not a farming game. This is a glass game. So you are... the kind of gimmick in this one is the resource wheel. As you push things along, you have access to more resources, and using those to build these buildings and score points. Just a really good game. I don't know what to say. Really good game. Uwe Rosenberg is an amazing designer. Always check out his games. Number 95, Glass Road. Number 94, Diamant. This is a weird example where BGG combined my plays of Diamant, kind of the old European version, with Ink and Gold by Eagle Griffin Games, and they are very similar. They're basically the same game, but there are a couple of like rules differences in the two games where I think like where it's weird that BGG put my plays together and combined them together in the stats. But either way, if they were separated out, it would be like 94, 93 type situation because they're not that much more different. But anyway, Diamant's really good. Push your luck game. You're going in with everybody, and every time you go into a cave, there are some gems that get shown. You split them up evenly with everybody. Anything that's left over stays on the cave. And then you have a chance to keep going deeper and pushing your luck to get even more or run back. And the cool thing about this is running back can sometimes be really lucrative because these leftover gems you get to pick up. If you're the only one that goes back, you get to pick up all these gems. Anyway, but you can keep going deeper and deeper and try and get more and more things. But if too many bad things happen, you get nothing. And so, anyway, great pusher luck game. Number 94, Diamant or Ink and Gold. 93, Seven Wonders, Antoine Bauza. Maybe the best card drafting game around. Especially one that can handle a group of up to 7. Really solid game. I think I read in their promotional material, I think they say it's the most awarded game of all time. Well deserved. They knocked this one out of the park. Great game. Number 93, Seven Wonders. Number 92, Splendor. A good friend of mine just was able to play the new Marvel Splendor and says that it makes this game absolutely obsolete. I have not played the Marvel Splendor yet, and so I will keep it here at number 92. And anyway, this is a really good game that can play with a wide variety of people. Play with smarter, younger kids, and anybody, non-gamers. I can teach this game to, and they'll have a good time. Almost everyone I've played this with has enjoyed the game. It definitely doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just very simple. You're picking up these gems, trying to get the right ones to buy cards. You're getting these cards to try to score points with the nobles. There's only a couple different pathways and strategies that really exist, but for some reason it just works really well. And is always fun, is always good. Anyway, number 92, Splendor. Number 91, The Prodigals Club by Vladimir Suchi. This is a sequel of sorts to Last Will, which will come up later. But a really good game. In Prodigals Club, you are trying to, 1, lose all your money, 2, lose all your friends, and 3, lose an election. So it just just action selection where the goal instead of trying to gain things, you are trying to lose things. I really like in the part of the there's these 3 different parts of the game, and you're trying to do different actions and all the different ones to be just a terrible person and lose all your money. But I really like where thematically where you're trying to lose all your friends. One of the best actions is to make the old lady angry at you because otherwise she'll say nice things about you if you don't make her angry, and be rude to her and make people like you more. I just think that's really funny. But anyway, this is a really good game. I need to get this out more often. It is one of those ones where it's kind of hard to explain to people, and so I shy away from wanting to explain it. But yeah, anyway, really good game. Number 91, The Prodigals Club. Number 90, Vikings. Funny story in this game. I played this game a bunch, at least a dozen times on I think it was on EdotGdot and without ever reading the rules. I just, I do this sometimes when I play online. I was like, hey, I'll try to learn this game. And I'll just try to kind of intuit it from what's happening in the game and what my opponent's doing. But this game, I can never quite figure out the scoring. And so I always like lose the game. But I always had fun trying to. You have this like ring of Vikings and island tiles that you're trying to build out, and that part of the game was fun, but I could never figure out the scoring. And then I was able to pick up a physical copy of the game, read the rules, and like, oh, that's how you score. Anyway, this is a really good game for Michael Kiesling without Kramer. Sometimes they do that, I guess. Anyway, number 90, Vikings. Number 89, Tiny Towns. Peter McPherson, AEG. I just played this one recently, and I really enjoy the puzzly aspect of this game. In this game, everybody, on your turn, you get to call out a color. Everybody takes that cube, puts it somewhere on their board. And what you're trying to do is get those colored cubes in the right sequence to build a building that are available in the type. And what the different buildings do varies from game to game. Kind of randomly pick how it scores and what abilities it gives you. And anyway, yeah, just the puzzle in this game is really good. Anyway, number 89, Tiny Towns, a really good game. Number 88, Takenoko, probably the cutest little piece in any of the games that I own. The little panda and the little bamboo that grows up. And so this game, you're trying to farm bamboo, and the panda keeps trying to eat it. And but you're scoring points by creating different bamboo situations and having these scoring cards. And yeah, that's another really good game that is not too difficult to teach. It's super cute. It has this awesome table presence, but it has some interesting decisions to make. Number 88, Takenoko. Number 87, Scythe. This is from Stonemaier Games. Super well loved and beloved on Board Game Geek and in the gaming community in general. This has all of the trappings of a war game or combat game of sorts, but is really an action selection game where you're trying to build up your little civilization and gain technologies so you can do different things. The artwork on this is amazing. The gameplay is really interesting and at least when it came out, very unique. Anyway, really good game, number 87, Scythe. Number 86, Point Salad. This is a quick little card drafting game that just works really, really well. It plays really quick. I can play this with my 8-year-old daughter. I can play it with my mom, my 80-something-year-old mom, and everyone enjoys it. Also, it's good math practice for the younger kids and an interesting little puzzle of trying to collect the right different ingredients for the point scoring opportunities that you have selected for yourself during the game. Anyway, really good game. Number 86, Point Salad. Number 85, St. Petersburg. That's one of the first games I purchased when I started purchasing games in my collection almost exactly 10 years ago from when I'm making this video. Yeah, just a really good game. So what you are trying to do in this one is score points. And you do that by getting serfs and workers who create income for you, which you use to build buildings, which give you victory points. Or you can use that money to get the influence of different nobles, which can give you money and or victory points. And then you can use some of that money to make your buildings or your nobles even awesomer. And yeah, it's just this tableau builder. The rhythm of the game is really interesting and good. I especially like this game 2-player, but plays well with any player count. Anyway, really good game. Number 85, St. Petersburg. Number 84, Pandemic. This is the cooperative game. I don't know, the most successful one for sure. One of the most popular, maybe one of the best ones. But anyway, number 84, Pandemic. Yeah, just a really good game. So many people said so many great things about this game. I don't know what I could say to add to that, but yeah. If you want to learn how to play a really good cooperative game, Pandemic is great. And there might be some more Pandemic later on the list. We'll see. Number 83, Ethnos. This is an area control game where you are recruiting the abilities of these different races and trying to build a band of these different races or helpers or whatever. And as you play those, you gain those benefits. And the way that you gain the different abilities from the races to manipulate the area control, just so clever, so easy, plays quickly. Just really, really enjoyed this game. Number 83, Ethnos. Number 82, Stone Age. Another great like beginner Euro game where you're placing out these workers to get resources. There's a little luck in the die roll there with the resources, but then you take those resources to build buildings. You take actions to up your kind of technology or get more workers. Anyway, really solid game. I really enjoy playing this one because it's not so difficult and so straightforward, but it is fun. It's just really fun and easy. And sometimes games get too complicated, and this one doesn't. Really good game. Number 82, Stone Age. Number 81, Biblios. Come back to Steve Finn from Dr. Finn's game. This one was licensed to Yellow. And man, this was like one of my top 10 games for a long time. Just a really solid game. I really like this game. These games that have like two phases to them. So the first phase of this game is a donation phase where you are picking cards one at a time on your turn, and you're giving one to you and all of your opponents, and one to the auction pile. It will come up in the second half of the game where you're auctioning off all these cards, and you're using the money that you got in the first half of the game and or some of the other cards so you can get more money during the auction phase that you can spend to get other cards, and you're just trying to get the majority in these 5 different aspects of copying out the Bible or books or the library of sorts. Again, doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not too long. Just has some really intense auctions to it. And the auctions are, the scope of them are so narrow. Sometimes auction games, you don't know the value of things. But this one, you really quickly figure out that thing. So, at least all the people I've played with seem to pick up the value of things pretty quickly. And so you're not massively overpaying for stuff. But sometimes you do. And sometimes you hoard on to too much money and you don't get the value out of it that you think you should. But anyway, number 81, Biblios. Number 80, Rise of Queensdale. This is a game that I will probably never finish. This is a legacy game, which changes as you play the game. Each game is a little bit different than the previous game. But unfortunately, this is one of those legacy games where you kind of have to play with the same person, and the other person I was playing with does not enjoy the game. It came to the point where he just didn't like where it was going, didn't like how the game was, and so we have not continued playing it. We're about halfway through the whole thing, and I'll probably never get a chance to finish it. But I really, really enjoyed how this was going. I really enjoyed the game, and it makes me sad that I chose the wrong person to play with. And it's perfectly fine. He doesn't need to play a game that he's not having fun with. And so I almost want to buy another copy of the game and find somebody else to play with. Anyway, really good game. If you like legacy games, I recommend you giving it a go. Number 80, Rise of Queensdale. Number 79, Lewis and Clark. This game is all about the Lewis and Clark expedition. In fact, on the cards, there's a lot of historical stuff, and you can learn little tidbits of information about the history of the Lewis and Clark expedition, which was, if you're unaware of, really famous. And Thomas Jefferson sent out Lewis and Clark to map out the Louisiana Purchase, and they ended up going all the way to the Pacific Ocean into what is present-day Oregon and Washington. In fact, the trail that they followed, I live probably 100 yards away from. In fact, there's probably a good chance that Lewis and Clark walked right through where my house is right now. and along the river, the Columbia River. And anyway, this is just a really good game. It is different than anything else I think in existence. I haven't played another game like this one. It is a little thinky. I probably would not play with the maximum player count unless everyone had played the game several times and knew what they were doing. But yeah, great game. Lewis and Clark, number 79. Number 78, Mississippi Queen. The Mississippi Queen. Yeah, so this is a game about racing down the Mississippi River in paddle boats. And I really like the way that you turn the boats and gain speed and you kind of the economy of your coal and the position of trying to stop to pick up the ladies along the way and get to the end of the race without crashing and without being terrible. But yeah, just a really good racing game. I really enjoy it. Another game that I'd love to get my own copy of. But anyway, number 78, Mississippi Queen. Number 77 and number 76 are going to go together, kind of. They are One Night Ultimate Werewolf and One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak. If you've been watching all those videos, you know I'm not a huge fan of Werewolf in general, but the one night games are so good. You can mix and match the two games together, but they are standalone games, which is why they get their own entry here. But the nifty thing about this game is it comes with an app. It plays in 5 minutes or less, depending on how long you want to have conversation after the action round. And this is just a really good game. Social deduction. You are actually had an interesting arc with this game. The very first few times I played it, I felt like it was a lot like other werewolf games, but even more frustrating. But the fact that it played so quickly allowed me to keep playing it more and more. Eventually got my own copy. I played this with lots of family and friends, and not everyone loves it, but I have grown to love this game and would play it pretty much anytime because it's just fun, and you can play it multiple times in a row. I've had a lot of memorable games where like crazy things happen, and like you feel like an accomplishment when you figure out what's happened during the action rounds. And sometimes you're just totally fooled, and that's fun. Anyway, number 77 and 76, One Night Ultimate Werewolf and One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak. Number 75, Airlines Europe from Alan Moon. So this is sort of Alan Moon is the guy who made Ticket to Ride. This game has a lot of again, it was like same designer. They're like cousins of games. You can see kind of the influence of the two different games in his design head. And but definitely its own game. This is a stock game where you are trying to get stock in these different airlines, and you're trying to make those airlines more and more valuable so that your holdings are worth more. And anyway, it's just a really good, solid game. Number 75, Airlines Europe. Number 74, Cacao from Phil Walker Harding. So this is a really interesting tile laying game where the tiles have like printed workers on them, and the more printed workers on them as they point towards the other tiles on the board will do those actions so many times. And so the control in how you are putting out these tiles is so interesting and fun, and is just a great puzzle. Anyway, really good game. I have enjoyed all my plays of this. Number 74, Cacao. Number 73, Just One. Just One is a really good word party game. So in this one, everyone's trying to work together, and you're trying to get the most points with everybody at the table. And so when it's your turn, you flip over a card without looking at it. You say a number randomly, and it has a word on there. And everybody else is trying to get you to guess that word by writing down a one-word clue. However, they do this in secret, and they show all the other people what their word was. And if anybody ever wrote the same thing down, you don't get to see that clue. And so it's a lot of fun trying to come up with a good one-word clue that's going to help somebody get the answer, but not be similar to what other people are going to say. so you get kind of off the wall, and sometimes things match up, and you get just really hard clues, or people got too crazy, and that's all that you say are these two kind of crazy things that maybe don't go together, and you can't bring it together for a word. Anyway, really good game though. Number 73, Just One. Number 72, The Game. Are you ready to play the game? Is the subtitle on this one. So this is a cooperative game where you are trying to play cards to ascending and to descending piles from 1 to 100. You have some limited communication, and this game just works really well with a wide variety of people. You play with gamer, people play with tons of games. This could be the first game that you introduce to somebody, and most everybody has fun with it. And I intrinsically have a lot of value to games like this. Anyway, number 72, The Game. You pick one at Target for like $10. I recommend it. Number 71, QE, Quantitative Easing. This is just the craziest auction game. I really do like auction games. The rest of this list will have a fair number of auction games, and this one is just crazy and weird and fascinating, and the psychology behind this game is just so out there and is interesting in itself. So the twist in this game is you are trying to bid on these tiles that will score you points by having different set collections values to these, but also you can bid any number you want. You bid 1, you could bid 2, you could bid 10,000, you could bid 100,000, with a little twist that whoever spends the most money in their bids loses the game automatically. And then, so you can do great, you can win everything, but then you're spending lots of money and you lose the game. But I played this game twice back to back, and you just see the game. At the very beginning, bids were very low in the hundreds and less than 100. And then as the game progressed, people started bidding higher and higher and higher. And then as we played the game with the same group in the next game, it's like it picked up from where we were, and it just kept going higher and higher and higher, because you have to bid higher because you got to win the things. And everyone just bidding higher. And then you're trying to like pull the rug out from other people and make them overbid and spend too much money. Anyway, really solid game. Number 71, QE. Number 70, Dice Town. Some of my friends hate this game, and they are wrong. They are wrong. This is a fun game, I promise you. You are rolling these poker dice. You are trying to make poker hands, and then you are evaluating all the different cards and getting different benefits. You get gold. You can steal cards from other people. You can get lands from the mayor. Anyway, and then highest points win. Really good game. I don't know if I played this game and did not enjoy it. I can't think of a time where I just didn't have a really good time. There are a few expansions for the game. I haven't played with all of them, but the ones I have played with have only added and not taken away. But anyway, number 70, Dice Town. Number 69, Carcassonne. Earlier I said St. Petersburg was one of my first purchases. I purchased it at the exact same time I purchased this one. I'd played it earlier with a friend and really enjoyed it. They call it a gateway game because it's a great first game to learn when you're first learning these hobby board games. Just this great tile layer has held up over time. I've played it a lot of times, and I would play it again tomorrow. I play it again right now after I finish this video. Somebody wanted to play it with me. Really good game. Number 69, Carcassonne. Number 68, Alhambra. Not as loved as Carcassonne, but kind of from the same era, and is in its own right a great tile layer. I have the big box version that has a bunch of different expansions. I haven't tried all the different expansions and modules, but the ones I have tried, I've really enjoyed. It adds to the game without detracting from it. There's a couple I've read the rules to that I'm not sure if I'm keen on trying, but anyway. So in this game, you are collecting these different currencies, and then then these tiles come out, and they want a certain currency to purchase them. And so you're just trying to get the right currencies to purchase those things. It has this cool thing where if you pay with exact change, you get another turn. You get to buy another one or get money and trying to link together those exact change turns and have enough cards. But if all you do is collect money, you're gonna not have the tiles that you need to score points. Anyway, number 68, Alhambra, really good game. Highly recommend. Number 67, Wetloff Knock El Dorado, The Quest for El Dorado. I first played this game at BGG Spring on the Spiel des Jahres nominee tables that they have up there. Played it a couple times. I ran down my own copy. I played this a fair bit more, and I just really enjoyed this game. It's Rainer Knizia's take on deck building on a race game, and he's just such a good, pure designer, and he really hit it out of the park with this one. But anyway, number 67, The Quest for El Dorado.
Wait.
Anyway, that is the last game of this video. I'll have one more video coming later this week, probably, and where I talk about my absolute most favorite games I've played in the last 10 years. This has been a fun journey, and I'll see you guys later.
Where? I'm making a YouTube video, guys.